I'm just going to be clear. Make sure we're totally transparent here because I'm not losing. We got to have a bet between you and I.
Okay.
There's got to be some skin. There's got to be some skin in the game. Welcome back to the Real Estate Podcast. Today, Adrian and I disclose our 2025 predictions, and we give you a chance to win a night out with us if you leave your comments with your predictions. Let's go.
Welcome to the Real Estate Podcast, your go-to source for raw, unfiltered stories and expert tips. Whether you're a buyer, seller, tenant, landlord, or realtor, join us as we dive into the world of real estate.
It works beautifully.
It shows up?
Oh, yeah.
Why would it show up?
We're just talking about black lights and how before and after I clean my bathroom. Do you have your own bathroom at home?
Yes and no. We both use the primary bedroom ensuite regularly, but I prefer showering in the basement because it's a nicer shower. It's a big glass shower versus the tub.
All right.
And I'm wider, so my stance in the tub
all right.
is awkward.
If you go number 2.
Powder room, main floor.
Powder room, main floor?
I've had this discussion before. I feel safer in small washrooms.
You're just thinking up your whole front entrance, are you?
No, I've replaced every fan in my house.
Have you?
Yes. And the fans that came in the house had something like a 50 or 60 CFM. My fans have 150 CFM.
Ooh.
So it's
was that a tough job to do?
In the powder room, no. In the upstairs, yes, because I had to go into the attic because I had to enlarge the opening because the fans are bigger. So I had to move all the insulation, cut a bigger opening, install the bracket. Then you have to put the vapor barrier back over top and connect the thing, which it's awkward.
So how was it easier in the powder room?
Because I could do it all. Like there was no insulation or vapor barrier. So you just make the connection and then connect it. But because how the builder put the vapor barrier over the original fans, the new fans are much bigger. So you couldn't just stick it in. You had to
I get that.
Cut it and open it up and then put all the insulation back so you don't have any low spots.
Do they have any sensors so the one in my basement, it's got 2 settings. Mm-hmm. The first setting is a censored fan. Mm-hmm. So when it senses moisture, it'll automatically turn on.
Yeah.
The other one is just on.
Mm. So no, I didn't get anything like that. But all my switches are smart. So if I wanted to, and I've thought about it, but I didn't really care to. But
so the switch that controls your fan is a smart switch?
Yeah. So I can.
That's smart.
Tell it to, if the lights are shut off, I can tell it to shut off after 5 minutes, or I could get a little humidity sensor and it says if the sensor detects a certain level, then turn on, whatever. I'm
blown away by how many people don't run their bathroom fans for at least a half an hour after.
Well, we run into that problem with all the rentals
all the time,
and telling people leave the fan on.
There's mold in the window. There's moisture in the ceiling.
You can leave it on all day.
Damp.
People overthink it. If you don't have a timer switch, just leave it on till the end of the day.
Actually, I read recently, because the one in the bathroom at home is that I use. Mm-hmm. That's the basement washroom. Mm-hmm. And I used to leave the fan on all day.
Yeah.
To just help circulate the air a little bit, get the air moving in the basement because, it's the least used part of the house for the most part. And I was reading an article where it said that is...
I know what you're going to say.
One of the contributing factors to fires.
I don't believe it.
I didn't either, but it got me second guessing because... It makes sense a little bit. It's a motor.
Yeah, but most motors have a thermal shutoff. So I would think anything like that would have a thermal shutoff. So if it reaches a certain temperature, it triggers a relay that shuts the fan off.
Yeah, I don't know.
But even if it doesn't, I mean, how
you just need something to spark.
I mean, the fan's sparking all the time anyways. Those motors make sparks generally, the way they spin. But I think the problem lies with when people let them get too dirty and they overheat. Maybe some of the old ones don't have the sensors. I don't know.
Or what if there's insulation that's like it doesn't have a vapor barrier and there's insulation rubbing up against something?
Well, then it wasn't installed properly.
Maybe it was, and the insulation moved over time because airflow in the attic. You never know, man. Or maybe there's rodents. Maybe there's rodents that move shit around. It's a good reason to go up and check into your attic.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year.
What are we talking about today? Predictions.
It's my favorite time of the year. Ho, ho, ho.
And we still can't talk about our predictions from last year.
We don't have the stats yet. Stats. Like, we want the final. I don't want to go and pull reports that aren't accurate 100%. We're going to get the 100% data.
November stats will give us a pretty good indication. I don't think December's jumping up or down much.
It doesn't matter. We got a competition on the go between you and I.
We already know I've won. So why don't we talk about next year so you can give yourself a chance to redeem yourself?
And we got a gift card on the line for the closest guess from last year.
There's multiple people that said the same number. So what if, are we giving a gift card to everybody?
Then it'll be a draw.
Okay.
Then we'll put, if multiple people had the same answer and that answer was correct, we'll throw those names into a hat and pull one.
And for those of you that are not familiar with what we're talking about, back in January, we published one of our podcasts where we gave our predictions.
December, I think it was. Anyway.
No, it was in January, but we said from December to December. So a house that sold at the end of last year to the house that sells at the end of this year.
Yeah, year over year.
Year over year. What would the difference be? So
on average.
And just giving numbers to make it relative. So if we had $1 million house, what's it selling for in 2024?
Now, the stats that get published that we use are through the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, the largest board in the country. But it is an average. So maybe
we need to be specific. We need to take identical homes.
Yeah, maybe we got to, zone in geographically a little bit more to make it fair.
Yeah. Well, I think we did say Halton.
I don't know. I'm going to go and back and watch it before we do that recap.
And so what we'll do, if you'll agree with me, is we'll take...
I agree.
Okay.
Go ahead. Set the rules.
So we're going to take one or two properties in Oakville, Milton, and Burlington. Call it, just to cover most of Halton. And...
Nope, that covers Halton, yeah.
Well, Halton also encompasses Halton Hills.
Okay.
And we will compare homes that are more or less the same that sold in December of 23 to December of 24 and see what the difference is, rather than taking the real estate board's averages, because...
Well, then for sure I'm going to be right.
No, you're not.
Ooh, I think so.
No.
All right, what's the framework for this year? Same concept?
Same concept. So how, basically, to summarize it, how much do you think from January 1st to December 31st of 2025, do you think the market will appreciate or depreciate, if at all, by a percentage?
Yeah, you got to give the exact percentage. So if you're leaving the comment and you're guessing as to, again, year over year, if we're now in January of 2026.
Hang on, though. This is skewed because... Are we doing an average of the market, or are we doing, like last time, saying $1 million home? Because it's tough. How do you think the condo market's going to fare? I think that market will be very different this year than it was last. How do you think the average size 2,000 square foot detached
then different markets will have different statistics as well, right?
So then I think just to make it easy, maybe we just stick with the averages.
Well, then averages, I think we're both wrong.
No, I think I'm pretty close. Actually, I think I'm high. I think you're really high. I think I'm high. And
we'll see. Okay. We'll see.
So what are we putting on the line this year?
Well, what we're putting on the line in terms of winning?
Yes.
Okay,
Last time I throw a $100 gift card. I don't know what it was for.
I'll throw something out.
Okay.
It's going to limit the answers to being people that are local somewhat.
Okay.
And that's Adrian and I will treat you and a friend to a really nice dinner with wine here at, shall we say, Pasqualino's maybe?
Sure.
There you go. Pasqualino's we've got a few go-to restaurants, but we're actually going there tomorrow night.
We'll be there
for
tomorrow
night. There you go. A beautiful night out for you and a guest, whoever that may be, your spouse, a friend.
Sounds good.
And you get to chat with us.
Everyone's going to be so excited.
Ooh, dinner. Yeah. I got to go out with the guys on the podcast. Yeah.
All right.
Well, we have got a lot of clients, friends, followers.
Oh, yeah.
That I think it would be nice to go out and hang out and have a nice meal together. So there you go.
All right.
Better than a $50 gift card.
So, how would you, without knowing the stats specifics?
So hang on.
I want you to summarize your opinion of the 2024 market.
Without getting into stats.
Not talking numbers necessarily, but just your overall impression of how things went, certain segments that you know, what your opinion was. And that's a really good question. But it does depend on the market not the market as a whole, the market that you are selling in. Geographically or?
Geographically.
Yes.
It was.
And types of properties.
And exactly.
Geographically was somewhat
predictable.
I would say
a little
on
bit
whole,
more predictable.
It was predictable. There might be like micro markets.
For sure.
Like,
if I look at what we sold as a team for the year, there were definite outliers that would say the market was actually really good to be a seller. And then there were some that, took a little bit longer to sell than we anticipated or didn't get as much traffic or activity as we may have anticipated. And then there was the opposite.
Good is relative.
That's true.
Not good compared to 2021, but good relative to the current market. Some homes are doing better than others.
God, shit got a little bit normal this year.
Yes.
Or in 2024, I should say. It normalized. For us, it's a much more balanced market in our trade area, which is Halton, Peel, Wellington, Hamilton, surrounding area. And it gave buyers an opportunity to do more due diligence, make sure they're making the right decision, gave them some more inventory to choose from. And I think it normalized the transaction in a sense where there weren't reactive decisions being made. There weren't haste decisions being made. There were educated decisions for the most part. And I think it was a year of very fair transaction for the most part, between a buyer and a seller. Buyers got a good deal. Sellers got a good deal. I think for the most part, that's what we ended the year with. There were hiccups along the way. There were times where it was a little bit slower, things not moving, people pulling their homes off the market. But we talked about that before because it was also a product of a lot of realtors not knowing how to price the home, a lot of sellers being, I don't want to say greedy, but unaware and hopeful because they saw what their home was worth 3 years ago and were putting a lot of try numbers out there and whatnot. I think from our perspective, it was a good year, a little bit of a learning lesson for a little reminder for everybody in the real estate industry that you got to fucking work in this business. Like you can't take your foot off the gas pedal, right? Like every year, but you have realtors that joined they got licensed in like 2019, 2020, 2021, even 2018. Everything was rosy, right? Like your phone was ringing all the time. Hey, I want to buy this house. Yeah, sure. Firm offer. It's been on the market for 12 hours. Oh, you need 10 grand over asking, 100 grand over asking. No problem. Yeah. Sign me up. I just want to get the house. You haven't even seen the house. I don't care. I just want it.
I don't think it was any easier to get a deal necessarily as it was at that time. The deals that you did get came together quickly. There's still a big range in how successful they were with them. Like, the good agents were selling in multiple offers for far more than other homes. Like, not all homes in multiple offers were doing exceptionally well. Like, there's so many variables to it. But now it's definitely, I think people are pickier about who they're hiring.
Yeah. Pickier about what home they're making an offer on.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a mistake for a lot of buyers waiting because they didn't feel the urgency. So they would sit on the sidelines and wait. And then, now somebody else is putting an offer on the same property. So now they end up in multiple offers again. Whereas if you see the house, you like the house and you bought the house right away, you would have avoided that.
Yeah.
But it happened to me I'm working on a deal right now where house on the market for a couple months. It wasn't something my clients were considering. And then all of a sudden they said, okay, well, let's go see it.
Yep.
So we went, we liked it. We put an offer on it right away. And all of a sudden, another offer came in. In fact, the home wasn't even on the market anymore. It had been terminated. But because it had been on the market for so long and people were looking at it, my clients ended up in multiple offers. And the person that bid on it was sitting on the fence. And they lost out. We got the deal, obviously. But if they had have made a decision when they first saw it, they probably would have bought the house.
Maybe.
Maybe not. Who knows?
Okay, you want to make a prediction for 25?
$5.5%. 5.5%.
5.5% what? Increase?
Increase.
On the average purchase price, on the average price.
4%. I'm going down to 4%. 4% increase on the average home.
So, okay. Again, this is the stat in the Toronto Real Estate Board. And it's just average over residential homes?
Yes.
I think we should be a little bit more specific.
It's tough because what if all of a sudden the luxury market picks up for some reason and all these, multi-million dollar homes
Why don't we dial it into Halton homes? Homes in Halton region.
I would bundle Peel in there.
Huh?
I would bundle Peel in there.
Okay, fine.
I would just exclude Toronto because Toronto is sometimes its own little market.
Yeah. Well, there's pockets in Oakville and Mississauga too that are its own little market.
Yeah, well, those pockets exist in all regions.
Okay, so we're going to bundle. So new rules of the road here.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that want to go out for a fancy dinner with Adrian and I, and you want to leave your comment, and hopefully we'll look back in 12 months and be calling you for dinner.
If we don't get a lot of people,
the average price for a detached home,
I would just say freehold.
Fine, even better. Okay. The average price of a freehold home,
single family,
so not a duplex, triplex, any of that jazz, in Halton and Peel region combined. So we're going to take the stats from Halton and Peel region for freehold average price in 12 months. And you're saying that number is going to increase
by 4. What did I say?
Well, you said 5.5 and then you said 4. But now we're changing the rules.
4.37%.
So I'm just going to be clear. Make sure we're, totally transparent here because I'm not losing. We got to have a bet between you and I.
Okay.
There's got to be some
side
skin.
bet?
There's got to be some skin in the game.
What if you go over? Is this like prices, right? If we're both
Closest
over?
one wins without going over.
No, you can't do that because now you're just going to say 1% and hope that I went over. Actually, no, you probably think I'm low, knowing you, because you're always optimistic only with real estate. Everything else, you're pessimistic. But
how do you figure? My stocks are doing wonderfully.
So what's our side bet?
By the way, I'm going to keep plugging Amazon stock because if you don't own any Amazon stock, really buy some and put it away for the next 5 years.
First of all, you have to say, not that we have a big following and you can have any influence, this podcast will have zero influence on that stock, but you must disclose that you hold Amazon stocks.
Yeah, obviously I hold Amazon stock.
Thank you. I don't want any legal repercussions. And I have
FinTrack's coming after us now.
I have nothing to do with that conversation. So it can't be held against me.
No, you are right now. I'm telling you to buy some Amazon
I'm not buying
stock.
Amazon stock. Well, maybe I do inadvertently own Amazon stocks through my ETFs. But.
Anyways.
All right, I said
All right.
What did I say? 4.37.
4.37% increase on the average freehold home in Peel and Halton combined.
2025 predictions. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair number. I like the fact that we're zoning in on Halton and Peel. So that's Mississauga, Brampton, and then everything up to Burlington and whatever's in between. I'm going to say, well, that will also include Caledon then,
the Brampton
right?
market may be skewed because based on our last podcast, if all these illegal immigrants are getting kicked out of the country, that may free up some inventory in Brampton.
A lot of immigrants now are coming to Mississauga and Milton. I mean, it would affect both regions quite a bit. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be optimistic. Yes. Okay. And I am going to say.
It's obviously positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 6.1%.
All right. It's in the books.
There you go.
I'm saying plus 4.37%. You're plus 6.1%.
Yes. Now, you made a note on the criteria.
No, but I'll make that so we don't forget.
It's the combined average between Peel and Halton for a freehold residence.
Got it.
Average price. Should probably pull the stat and just see what the average price is currently.
We will. We'll post that.
Well, the good news is we're both well into the positive with our prediction. So last year, you were flat.
Yes.
And I think I was +5.
Okay.
Got to look back at that. I said between 3 and 5%, I believe.
Okay.
We'll double check before we go through those stats in the next episode. But if you're at 4.37 and I'm at 6.1, blended average is almost 5% or thereabouts, just over. So 5% increase would kind of be nice.
Yeah.
And still fair for the market, still fair for the buyers. But I think the sellers will feel a little bit better if the prices tick up a bit. And that will create a little bit of urgency for the buyers, because if prices are going up, the biggest fear is that the prices will continue to go up. And then it's, that FOMO.
Well,
and mortgage rates have come down.
And they may continue. The last couple of months, what I've been telling to a lot of clients who are saying, should we do something now or later, whatever, I've been pretty consistent with my answers, is that if you are just getting into the market, or if you are upsizing, or if you are buying an investment property, you should buy now. You should move now. But if you are downsizing, so if you're retiring and you're going to rent, or you're retiring and you're just going to a smaller home, or if you're selling and just getting out of the market for whatever reason, you should not sell yet. You should wait and do that transaction in the new year. Because I feel like as a ratio, the house they're selling will be worth more than what they're buying or just cashing out on in 2025. So they'll fare better if they hold on to it for a few months. And I think that's still true. So now a lot of those people I was talking to, I'm saying, well, let's start planning for January listings. Because I think in January...
Oh, this is going to air in January.
No, I know. This was my conversation with them.
Yeah.
Is let's plan for January listings. So I'll have 3 listings in January.
Yeah.
Already.
Yep.
And I think those people are...
Yeah, I've got a couple that are signed.
Yeah, those people will be better off than if they sold...
Weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the beginning of the year will be busy.
Yeah, the first... I am expecting that the first quarter this year is going to see a lot of activity that we didn't see necessarily last year, which is good. The market needs it. Hey, you know what never has HST on it?
What? Lots of things.
Resale homes.
Unless you've been using it as an Airbnb.
Okay, well, your primary residence.
More than 50% of the time.
Asterisks here.
Yeah.
All right, there's our prediction. What is your prediction? Leave us a comment. Make sure it's documented. So leave a comment, and it doesn't matter where it is. On Spotify, Instagram, Facebook.
DM, whatever.
YouTube. No, don't DM us. Put it in the comments so it's like public.
Okay.
And people can see it, so it's legit. We're going to take you out for a fancy dinner.
We'll even send an Uber. Uber Black.
Ooh, you're kicking it up a notch.
I am.
Separate
But
Uber.
only one drink. I'm reallocating some funds.
Yeah, there you go. All right, cool. 4.37 and 6.1. It's documented. Leave us a comment. Let us know what your guess is for the 2025 real estate market. Thank you.
Ciao.
See ya. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to episode 321 of the Real Estate Podcast. Leave your comments. Let us know, what is your prediction for the 2025 real estate market? We're taking the average price of homes in Halton and Peel region, freehold homes. So give us your guess. What's the increase as a percentage? What's the decrease? Leave us a comment to win dinner with us. See you next week.